Yeah, I mean, I think that you have the Bitcoin community opposite the crypto community, and there's been a low grade sort of boiling guerrilla war between the two camps for the past 2.5 years. And Sam is kind of like the poster child of the crypto world, right? Sam makes billions of dollars on an unregulated exchange offshore. He makes billions of dollars issuing his own air token. He spends hundreds of millions of dollars giving to the crypto lobby and to politicians. And one of their messages is, Bitcoin is bad for the environment. It uses too much electricity, but not to fear. We have a staked air token, which does the same thing as Bitcoin, and it's environmentally friendly. So, we've always seen that going on. And I think that, the Bitcoin community would say, there's something ethically broken about being able to issue your own unregistered security, right? They call it committing the sin of shitcoinery.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So Sam and most of the people in the crypto world were always guilty of the sin of shitcoinery, or pumping and promoting unregistered securities. And that was obvious. I think, that was obvious to the chair of the SEC, to most politicians, right? The phrase that pops up over and over again is of that token or that asset. Because if I have to dump that thing in the market, I want to sell the entire position without moving the price.
Sure.
Okay, so that's the traditional world onshore. What Sam did was generated $14 to $16 billion worth of Solana, FTT serum. And then he went shopping for a bank to give him a loan. But he didn't want, you wouldn't get a loan from Goldman Sachs on it. No one's going to borrow you money, at least no non-crypto company. So what he did was he went to himself. He runs a bank called FTX. He applied for a loan from himself. He granted himself the loan.
For a loan from himself.
Well,
right?
secretly applied. He didn't tell anybody, but when they say, well, Alameda had a margin account and the margin position was slightly bigger than I thought, what he means is, they pledged a few $1 billion of air token, gave themselves a $10 billion loan, and they extracted, even if he had pledged $15 billion worth of air token, giving yourself a $10 billion loan means that you gave yourself about 100x the collateral value you would have got on a regulated exchange onshore. So what he did was, in essence, extract $10 billion of real stuff. Foolish. So there's three constituencies that got taken for billions of dollars here. The VC investors put $2 billion into an offshore exchange. The exchange, just to be clear, was unethical and illegal from the very beginning. It's illegal to do what they did in the U.S., and it's unethical if you think I am front running my customers, issuing a token, manipulating the price of the token, dumping it on them.
If you did that in stocks, you're going to jail if you front run.
It's absolutely illegal.
Yeah.
Right. FTX was its own regulator, its own market maker, its own exchange, the issuer, right? All at the same time. This is such and the hedge fund. Too much conflict of interest. So, but the three constituencies are the VC that put the $2 billion into FTX. They were supporting basically an offshore unregulated casino, running in opaque fashion, account of the interest of its own customers. They didn't ask for a board seat. They didn't do due diligence. They were chasing what they thought was insane gains, right? FTX is showing a company that goes from 50 million in revenue to 500 million in revenue to $1 billion in revenue, and they thought they just had the next great thing. So, Sam lies that any con, right, is like, I think I'm getting a deal that's too good to be true, and the con man is lying to me. We're all lying to each other, and so that's the first $2 billion goes down the drain. Except Alameda. Alameda has God mode. They never get margin called. So in an exchange, like in the U.S., it's illegal to go more than 50% loan to value. That means you're kind of like, you start with $1 million, you borrow 500,000, you're 1.5x levered. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, FTX started with 100x leverage, and then they backed it down to the responsible 20x leverage, which means that you post $1 million and you can take a $20 million
position.
Okay.
Who allows that?
Now, here's the insane. What if I put $1 billion of air token, FTT, on the exchange? I recognize you and I let you take a $10 billion bet. Like, whatever, you took a $10 billion bet, now you withdraw $4 billion of real cash and you use that to buy property and buy everything under the sun. So Sam basically, he scraped billions from unsuspecting investors in Silicon Valley. They should have known better. He took billions from crypto hedge funds and crypto banks like BlockFi and Voyager. They should have known better. And then he took probably 10 billion or more from depositors on his exchange and banking credit managers. If then they would know what they don't know, and maybe they could have constructed a company that might have managed this amount of risk.
You're saying he's not smart enough to have conned people? You're saying he did that accidentally, or it was intentional, like knowing what he's doing?
I'm saying that he basically incompetently, foolishly, greedily, enthusiastically pursued what he thought was a good idea, but he didn't have the combination of the real world experience and the ethics and the legal understanding and the banking understanding to even know what he didn't know. So is it criminal? Absolutely, it's criminal. It's like if you roll over a bunch of people in a car and kill them all, it's illegal, right? But at the end of the day, it's not clear to me that Sam understands what he did wrong now. Like, for example, what did he do wrong? There's accounting fraud here. There's basically equity fraud by creating an air token. There's all sorts of credit fraud. There's investor fraud, misrepresenting. I think that this is it's a painful deleveraging of the entire industry. But if you look at everybody that was kind of behaving badly, like doing stupid things, like again, aggressive lending in the real world is 1.4 leverage. That's insanely aggressive lending. These guys were all running at 20x, 10x.
That's insane
leverage.
To me.
So you had a lot of people behaving badly. They were destined to blow up. It might have been held off for a bit, but I have seen pretty credible evidence circulating in the Twitter sphere that Alameda had already taken a $3 to $4 billion loss in 2021 during the bull market because they were just doing stupid things.
So how come nobody caught him then? What was the tipping point? Was the tipping point when he went to the Binance CEO and says, hey, I need you to, why don't we partner up, and okay, I need $1 billion from you. He said, oh yeah, we'll do the deal. And the last one, no, we're not doing the deal, because even if we buy it, it's just not. The interview that he did, which was fascinating, by the way, the CEO of Binance, so very impressed by that guy. He says, no, we're not even touching him. He says, are you concerned that you're losing a company like FTX as a competitor? He says, he's not a competitor. If you know this business, we're not competitors. So if you're saying last year they lost $3 to $4 billion, in a very bullish market,